Christopher Nolan is adapting the Odyssey, right? Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Lupita Nyong'o, and Robert Pattinson. And obviously, holy shit, a Christopher Nolan film adapting a Greek epic. This shit is gonna be epic. But we know this. But what some of us don't know, apparently, is the Odyssey by Homer. And a lot of people have been getting cooked for not knowing it. I want to focus on that point, right? Because people are like, open up the schools, media literacy is dead, the kids are dumb. Yes, but no. Rather than focusing on the fact that people don't know, you have to look at the educational system. People are acting like this is like a whole book you read in school. It's really not. It was something that most people were introduced to when they were at the end of elementary and middle school. And it wasn't in like a big textual storybook way, especially for people who were in public school. Maybe your school had money and was making you read that shit like it was Harry Potter. But from what I remember, the Odyssey is introduced to us to introduce critical thinking, which obviously a lot of us lack, but that's not the point. It was shown to most kids as introduction to text analysis and an introduction to like literature story plot. Because if I'm correct, I don't want to Google this, just off my brain. Homer was known for doing really good climactic stories. He's like one of the fantasy and like epic lore. Like he's introduced for epic. I remember the nigga because of one of his stories from the Odyssey, which was Odysseus. I'm not sure if that was his name, but I think a lot of people should remember this story. It's when he goes to the Cyclops Island and he meets that Cyclops going in and out of his place. I can't remember if he was kidnapped or something, but he had known the Cyclops and the Cyclops had asked him who he was. And Odysseus had told him he was nobody. He might have been kidnapped, but I remember that when Odysseus is trying to escape, he like heats up a rod or something and stabs the Cyclops in his eye. And when the Cyclops tries to call for help for the other Cyclopses, and while Odysseus is escaping, they ask him, who did this to you? Who hurt you? And the Cyclops like screams, nobody did this. And so the Cyclopses kind of just think that he's losing his mind and just leave him alone. If I'm correct, oh my god, I just remembered. They may have showed us a movie of like the Athene, the war with the woman. But my point being in this, I remember that story because I liked literature. I specifically remember reading that and being like, oh, Odysseus is that nigga. He told him nobody. He had that man screaming, nobody. Nobody hurt him. Like that was so genius to me as a kid. But I also remember that a lot of people didn't pay attention while we were reading the story because of the way that it was taught. Trying to be the, oh, you're so stupid, bitch, to somebody that learned this story when they were in like elementary as an adult is the reason as to why kids have issues learning today. And even back then. You guys don't actually care about introducing people to stuff. You care about showing that you have the knowledge to that. And it's really fucking boring, especially when you're explaining it to somebody else. It's very rare to have a teacher that can teach in a style that makes every child comfortable and pay attention, especially when kids are learning multiple subjects and they're adapting to what they like. Expecting somebody who probably didn't like to write fucking essays to remember a nigga that was forcing them to write essays? What be wrong with y'all? This is a great way to reopen the conversation of talking about shit from Homer, but instead y'all are focusing on the fact that people don't know the Odyssey when some teachers probably taught it as a fucking take-home package. This might have also been the story of like the Trojan horse. I think Hermes was also in this story or something about messaging. We didn't learn the entire book, we learned portions and pieces, and some stories were really boring. Some stories were really fucking cool. Oh, like the Trojan War. But anyways, it actually makes me genuinely excited for